Hello. This is the much awaited Mr. Carly's story time. I first am going to start with stories that I can't tell here, and then I'm going to cover the first bit of my origin story, also known as my maculate conception. So, birds. Hush birds. So, the stories that I can't tell here are any that involve crime, any that involve drugs, any that involve sex in any but the least explicit ways, because this is a public YouTube channel and many people have access to it. And despite the fact that I'm irresponsible in many ways, I am not that irresponsible. Yes, Violet, we are very good friends. So, the stories that I can't tell, I probably can't tell the jumping out of an airplane without a parachute story. I probably can't tell the death of Elizabeth. I probably can't tell anything about the dream stuff. And I probably can't tell, almost any of the stories having to do with the Campagna. So, no gypsy stories. Sorry. Okay. What I can tell is hotel stories, mostly from the middle of the night and crazy people, but occasionally from daytime and crazy people. I can tell weird convention stories where I met famous people and stuff like that. And I can explain to you guys how books or movies or television shows that you've never seen work. But let's start with me, because this channel is about me, mostly. And things that I think and things that I thought and things that I've learned. So, how I came to be. I have a sister. She is 10 years older than me. And she had lots of genetic, congenital health things. And those aren't mine to discuss, but there were many things that she had to work very hard to overcome that were handicaps. And she's amazing. And she's much healthier now than she was when she was young. But my mom decided that 10 years later, when she wanted to have another kid, my sister's 10 years older than me, she was going to find the healthiest donor that she could. They did not have in vitro back then. This was the 70s, late 70s. And so my mom needed a way. They didn't have genetic testing back then at all. So we did not know how to grow babies without there being the old-fashioned way. So my mom, being the self-starter that she was, apparently at this time she was a great beauty. Many people found her attractive. She had, I think the thing that I heard the most about was she had very long black hair that went down way past where most people. So she also had a men's job. It used to be almost entirely a men's job to climb telephone poles and to fix the stuff that was at the top of those telephone poles. But my mom did that until she fell off and broke her back. But that's a different story. This is not that story. This is a different story. So, my mom was a great beauty. And so she basically had a health survey to check the genetic health of the people she worked with. It was fairly simple by comparison to now, but it was like, does your family have any history of liver disease? Does your family have any history of cancer? Does your family have any history of brain problems? Does your family have any history of nerve problems? All just this laundry list of things that can be genetically wrong with you. And the person that that was least broken, had the healthiest pedigree, she took home until she got pregnant. And once she was pregnant, she said, goodbye. Done with you. Be gone. And he did. He was gone. He had a wife and kids, most of whom I have never met. They are siblings I don't know. One of them I did meet, and I'm very, very fortunate to have found out that we were siblings because she was attractive to me, and so we could have been dating, and that would have been bad because she was my half-sister. So, yeah, that could have been really gross. But apparently there is a genetic thing where if you are related to somebody but not raised with them, then genetically they seem appealing to you. They've done studies, and the studies are not just done by creepy incest people, but by like actual science, and apparently that's a thing. But anyway, so I never met these people, and I didn't know about them, most of them, and they did not know about me. I mean, I knew about them. My mom told me about them eventually. But my father died in a tragic accident when I was 11 years old, which is probably a different story. But I never met the guy. Not once. I haven't seen pictures of him either, because it was a long time ago and not everybody had pictures back then. So there are probably pictures somewhere. There were some people who told me I looked similar to him, who knew him at the time. But for the most part, no. Never met the dude. Never knew who he was. Never knew anything about him, really. Except for that he was married and he was willing to have a kid outside of that. So, don't really know very much about that side. There was somebody who later on came along and claimed she was my dad's sister and convinced me to run off with gypsies for 2 summers. But that's a whole different story. So that's where I came from. My mom got a dude and made me and then said bye. And then she and her girlfriend raised me until I was about 6. And then the girlfriend was gone and my mom was with another guy who is a different story. So, yeah. That's where I came from. That's a start. And it's a story time. Hooray. I still have other things to say. I will probably not do only story times or anything, but there will be occasional story times. You'll hear some things about hotels and some things about the crazy people do in hotels. But for the most part, yeah. That's where I come from, and those are the stories I'm not going to tell. So, here we go. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Beep.